Hey everyone, welcome to the Healthy Brain Podcast. Happy New Year. This is the first episode of 2025. I've been a busy gal, been to Florida and back in Michigan and trying to keep warm. It's cold. It's cold in Michigan. Although it was really cold in Florida, they got so much snow. All right, so I have an exciting year set up for this podcast, but also for my focused brain health coaching. And also, I provide brain rehab therapy as well. But most of you are listening in, you're interested in brain health and longevity. Today's topic is all about 5 brain healthy habits that you can implement and it won't cost you any money. Before I get into this topic, though, I want to invite you to sign up for my newsletter because in there I'll be dropping different things that are happening in the podcast, but also in coaching tips and strategies, all to do with brain health and longevity. I've just released for my coaching clients a brain health and longevity program. It's a digital program, and it is a program that I'm giving to all of my one-on-one coaching clients. If you are ready to start changing your life, I want you to sign up for a free coaching consult, and it doesn't cost you anything. We'll be on a Zoom call for maybe around 45 minutes to an hour, and you could talk to me about what are your goals, where are you getting stuck, and I'll take a look and listen, and I'll listen in and see where I believe coaching can really help shift and give you hope in order to improve your life and improve your health, overall health. So you'll find in the show notes the link to set up a coaching consult. So set it up. And I do offer a 12-week coaching program one-on-one. It's through Zoom or a platform like Zoom. It's a 45-minute session every week. And there's bonuses as well. Like I said, I just released this brain health and longevity program, but it is only for my clients. Maybe in the future it will be for the general public, but really it is a supportive platform for my coaching. All right, everybody, let's get into the topic. So, brain health habits that won't cost you a thing. You know me, I like to get right to the detail, and I'm going to list them off, give the reason why they're important, and I'll give you a couple of ideas on how to implement them into your life. Now, none of these are really new. You will have heard them before, but I want you to put your view or take that perspective of these are 5 simple things that you can implement today that will really impact your brain health in the long term. You will see a benefit initially in the first couple of days. You will see and you will feel a difference. But what we're aiming for is to support your brain long term. We want to stop any progressive decline in brain health. And really, if you don't have your brain health, you don't have longevity. And some of these actually, most of them, they all help your physical health as well. So even though I talk about brain health, it really all of this helps your brain health, your emotional health, and your physical health. Okay, number 1. Walking. Yes, it's all a rage now. Have you seen, like, on social media, everybody's talking about it? I actually have, although you probably can't see it. Well, you can see my yoga mat right there. I got my yoga mat, but my walking pad is tucked away. One of my sons gave me a walking pad for Christmas. And especially when it was really cold here in Michigan, I just jumped on it. It's not for running, it's for walking and just to get the steps in. I have a long-term goal of a walking project that I'm doing, but I'm aiming for around 8,000 steps right now, but I'm going to be bumping it up to 10,000. That's in addition to my working out. So the why we want to walk. Well, there's so many benefits to walking, but cognitively, so brain health wise, why do we want to walk? Research has shown that walking 3 times a week increases the activity in the hippocampus. What is the hippocampus? It's an area of the brain deep within the brain, right around that primitive the limbic system of the brain. The hippocampus is in charge of new learning and memory. And this is especially important as we get older, but also in that area, around that area of the hippocampus is also the basal ganglia. And that's where people who suffer from Alzheimer's, they find beta amyloid plaques there. We want to increase activity in the hippocampus. Walking 3 times a week, that's not much, can increase activity in that area of the brain. Other research has shown that the risk of cognitive impairment decreases by 50% when we can walk 1 mile a day. And initially you may go, ooh, a mile, that's a long time. Well, that's around 20 minutes of a moderately brisk. It's not super, like for me, it would be like 3 miles per hour to get just under, around 20 minutes or 18, 19 minutes to get 1 mile in. That's why the walking pad is really handy and it doesn't have to be all at one time. These are the tips now. So I've given you a little bit of the research, why walking is, and it doesn't cost you anything. I've given you the research on how it's important, the impairment decreases by 50%. So our cognitive impairment, what does that mean? Cognitive impairment means memory problems, attention problems, focus problems, brain fog, problem solving problems. That sounds like problem solving problems. When we have cognitive impairment, and I see this in a therapy side in my patients with mild cognitive impairment or others who have pre-dementia or the beginning stages of dementia, or just with an overload in the system in the brain for a variety of reasons. Stress is increased, someone's health has declined significantly. There's cognitive impairment happens, which is memory problems and anything cognitive, which is higher level learning, higher level language and speech. So if we can decrease the risk of cognitive impairment by 50% by walking, I'm all in. I'm all in. Now, not only does walking help in those cognitive areas, but we know that brisk aerobic activity increases brain-derived neurotrophic factor, trophic factor or tropic factor. It's pronounced a couple of ways. This is a factor that's increased, it's released, the level increases as we exercise. And when there's a high level of BDNF, there is more neurogenesis. And that means more brain cells in your brain. And when I first started in the brain rehabilitation area, in the healthcare area, 25, 30 years ago, neuroplasticity was not a thing. It was, we believe that, we're doing some therapy. We're hoping that there will be some improvement in brain function. But we know now that there's things that we can do to increase brain neurogenesis, neuroplasticity, and walking and exercise is one of them. Okay, I hope I've convinced you to get walking. Number 2, water. Water. Half our body weight in ounces of water. Now, why is water important? Well, our body is made up of, what is it? Oh, I don't know if it's like 90%, 80% water. I can't remember what the statistic is, but we have water, we have fluid, okay? Blood, water makes up a portion of our blood. Water is important for energy and brain function. It's interesting, when I was working in the hospitals in acute care, we would often get called in to see a patient who was negative for a stroke. They hadn't had a stroke, they hadn't had any other kind of brain disease that would relate to their cognitive impairment that they were seeing. Their family brought them in because the patient was lethargic. They were just confused. They were disorientated. Sure enough, with those patients, if everything else was negative, meaning they didn't find any other neurological issue, when they gave the patient saline, and they always give every patient, when you go to the hospital, you're hooked up to an IV and you got the IV bag and the saline, they're pumping it in. And sure enough, within 12, 24 hours, I could evaluate one patient one day. The next day, they were very much more alert, so much better. It was the dehydration that was causing this change in cognitive awareness, so that it was a significant improvement. We know that even mild dehydration by 1 to 3% can impair our memory and our brain performance. So I know that it is a fad to carry around one of these. I have it right here. Speaking of that, little sip of water. Everybody take a sip of water, because you'll get going with your day, and I know myself, it's like I have to stop and think about drinking water. Just always have water handy. But so we know that it's popular now. People have these certain cups that are the S cups, the different cups and the different ways that you're going to drink water, and promoting it. Oh, it's great for your skin. It is all that, but especially it's so important for our brain function. So if you're feeling, and that's why some electrolyte packets are really popular with electrolytes. So you want to increase your hydration, and maybe consider an electrolyte supplement as well. But just overall, what this is, it's not costing you any money to just fill up this or a glass of water, and just take a glass of water. So aim for half your body weight in ounces. That's quite a bit. Lead up to it. So a tip and a strategy. Oh, I just forgot. I didn't really give you a strategy on how to implement more walking. I'll get back to that. So for implementing more water, always have, this is a 40 ouncer. So I use a 40 ouncer. I have a 25 ouncer, but I like to have pre-measured. I know how many ounces are in a thermos. So for me, filling this 1.5 or filling it up 2 times, that is going to give me my good amount of ounces of water, okay, in a day. So I know that it's just easy. I'm not filling up these little cups. I have some patients who say, well, I fill up this cup around 8 times. Get yourself something where it's easier to measure, and also one that you like to drink out of. So some people like straws, some people like more of an open mouth water. So that is the tip for water. For walking, even if you say, well, I'm going to walk a mile, we know that with routines and habits, and shout out to James Cleary, the Atomic Habits is a great book. We know that smaller is better, just to you want to get this momentum. So if you're trying to walk, that's my mile a day is my goal. Start small. Just say, I'm going to go for 5 minutes, because more than likely you'll bump it up to 10 minutes. Or maybe you're like, oh, I'm going to start with 15. Start with 10. And before you know it, you'll do 20. So start smaller than you think. That's a tip for walking. get into this momentum, into a habit of walking, and pair it. A bonus is what I like to do is pair it with another workout. So if I did a Pilates workout, I'll put my shoes on and just walk. I'm already in my workout outfit. Another tip is you can walk just after dinner or just before dinner. If it's dark, around here it's still dark around 5:30 or so. In the summer, I love to do that. Eat dinner and then go for a walk. But now I'll just do it before dinner, put something in the oven and then go out quick for a 15-minute walk. It doesn't have to be long, just get moving, get those miles in, go get those steps in. I love tracking. That's another way to really get that motivation in the walking. All right, number 3, meditate. If you've been following me for a while, you know I love my meditation. Am I good at it? No. But is anybody good at it? No. I have been meditating probably, I would say maybe 15 years, maybe 20, where I've had a loose practice of meditation, but I do meditate every morning. And I can tell you it is normal for your brain to drift. It's normal. You're not doing anything wrong. And really the purpose of meditation is to be aware of when your brain drifts and to bring it back to what you're meditating on. There's different ways to meditate. I have a couple of podcasts that interweave meditation. I do want to pull up, just on my side, I'm going to pull up some of the benefits of meditation on the brain. Because again, why are we meditating? It doesn't cost you anything, but for the brain, the research has shown there are brain changes seen in the prefrontal cortex. There's an increased activity in the prefrontal cortex. That's the CEO of the brain. You can take a look at one of my previous podcasts about the different skill sets or the importance of the brain, the PFC prefrontal, the prefrontal cortex. Ooh, I had a brain fart there. Attention, working memory, task initiation, task completion, regulation of emotions. Those are just some of the important things that the prefrontal cortex is in charge of. So with meditation, there's increased activity there, which is a good thing. Also, other areas of the brain where there's increased activity is in the hippocampus. Remember, new learning and memory in the temporal parietal junction. This is where we integrate auditory, visual, and sensory input. Another area is the anterior cingulate cortex. It's behind the prefrontal cortex. It regulates decisions, resists distraction, improves self-regulation. So that means instead of acting out, improve self-regulation means that you're inhibited somewhat. You inhibit, it gives you a pause. Insular cortex also, that is an area where we become more in tune with our feelings. Meditation practice has been shown to change the areas of the brain. These changes lead to improved attention, memory, making decisions, self-regulation. We're less reactive. We have improved awareness. And I really want to really give you another perspective of meditation. In my experience, meditation allows the areas of our brain to function how they're supposed to function. It brings our brain alive. Meditation is very, very important for brain health. How can you implement meditation? Well, I do love a variety of apps. You can start that way. I would start, if I was a beginner, I would start with like Insight Timer, Calm, Headspace, any of the apps that will guide you through. Even on YouTube, you don't even have to pay for anything on YouTube. There's a couple of really many different guided meditation channels that you can follow and try it out. The key is to be consistent. I'd rather have you do 5 minutes a day than 10 minutes a week or 15 minutes a week, like one time a week. It's better to do it every day. My practice, what I do, and this is what I have in my intentional morning course, which is part of the brain health and longevity program that I give to my coaching clients. In this intentional morning course, meditation is the first thing you do after you wake up and do your business and you're ready to sit, you meditate. And then I have other steps in this morning routine. But meditation is huge. And I gave you a ton of reasons why it's so helpful for brain health. All right. I hope I'm encouraging you to do all of these things. Now, and again, let me say it's, I haven't gone to the fourth and the fifth one, but you don't have to implement all of these at one time. See, there's this thing that happens because we want to do everything and change everything overnight, but our brain resists that. So part of us wants to do it all and we want to do it perfectly. But the other part of the brain is like, yeah, but that's unsafe because you haven't done all of these before. What do you mean you're starting to walk? What do you mean you're drinking all this water? Oh, you're meditating now? Oh, you're focused on these other two that I'm going to tell you in a minute. What, this is too much. This is too much. Oh, I'm just not going to do anything. Does that sound familiar? I know that was, for me, that was the case. And that is why with any of these, a little bonus is to track. Pick one thing that you're going to do this week, and maybe you'll focus on it for the next 2-3 weeks. Now, there is this thought and research, this idea that 21 days to create a habit. It's actually 61. There's a couple of research projects that were out that we know it takes many more days to create a habit. But that doesn't mean that you're not working on the habit, that you're not doing it. If you miss one day, if you miss meditation for 2 days, just start back. It doesn't mean you have to wait till Monday to start or just throw it all away. Do what you can. Doing something is better than nothing. Track it. I like to have a tracker when I'm starting a new habit because there's a lot of satisfaction in just marking off that, yes, you've done it, and you can look through the week. I do include a tracker. Maybe actually I'll include the tracker here. So look in the show notes and I'll put in a tracker, a weekly or a monthly tracker that you can fill out, print it off for your personal use. Okay, number 4. What else for the brain health? Sleep. Yes. Of course, sleep is important. We know it's important, but so many people struggle with it. I know I have in the past. I have a few different things that have worked for me. It's a very individual journey for sleep because women are different than men, young women, different than older women. Some women that are the same age, some don't have any problems, some do. So when I work with people with their brain health and sleep, it's a really individualized approach. But why is sleep so important in the brain? Yes, we'll feel rested, but the big reason is the glymphatic system is activated when we sleep. And the glymphatic system is active when we sleep. A researcher, Nedegard, I think I said his name, reported a 60% increase in extracellular space. That means more space to clear out the toxins when we sleep, and an increase in clearance of waste products like beta amyloid proteins. And as I mentioned before, in Alzheimer's, beta amyloid proteins cluster together to form plaque. It's important to detox your brain, and your body knows how to do it and your brain knows how to do it, but you have to sleep. And it clears out any soluble proteins, toxins, waste products, and excess extracellular fluid from the brain. Neuroinflammation is linked to accumulation of proteins and toxins. So we want to minimize this inflammation in the brain by sleeping. So there's a few tips and strategies to improve your sleep. You can set up an evening routine. Maybe it depends. Maybe you're reading a little bit. Maybe you're prepping. Maybe some face care. You're winding down in the evening. Cool bedroom. Maybe meditation. Taking some supplements that help with sleep. Maybe journaling. Try not to look at your phone, exposing yourself to blue light. You want to minimize that. So there's a few ideas. It is, like I say, an individual. And I think that's why it's not a one size fits all. And I think that's why it's a challenging area for people, is they just want to do what maybe their neighbor is doing or what they've seen on social media. And we have to really look at individually, what is going to help me? What is going to help you? And when I work with people, I ask them about their day. I ask them about their evening. I ask them about their morning, because that's the only way that we can implement something that will be really transformative and helpful for their sleep. Okay. Number 5 is call a friend. Social interaction is a primary indicator for brain health. To me, it's like, this is one of the more surprising. We know that community is important for our mental and emotional health, but it is a main factor in the 6 pillars of brain health that I go over in my brain health and longevity program. You know how to do it. We know how to interact with people, I'm not sure well, I know for sure going on Zoom and having a meeting on Zoom is not the same as seeing a person face to face, but it's better than not seeing anyone at all. But what we need to do is get back to interacting with people. It doesn't mean that you have to have all these new friends, but reach out to a friend. Get some support. Just talk to them. Laugh. Laughing with a friend is so healing. So those are the 5 brain healthy habits that will not cost you anything. And I hope I've given you some reasons for implementing these habits into your life. Remember, start small, track, reach out to me for questions, and also to set up your coaching consult. Get that on the books in February. Let's get going. All right. And have a great week. I will see you next time. Bye.